Once upon a time, there were two goats who lived on opposite ends of a narrow bridge. Now, this bridge was way too small for the two of them to occupy at the same time, and so they had made an agreement. Whichever goat wanted to cross the bridge would call out to the other one, and once they agreed, that goat would back up and let the other one pass. Well, one day, Goat A wanted to go across the bridge, so he called out to Goat B, "Hey, Goat B, I want to come over to your side of the bridge." But Goat B was in a particularly grumpy mood that day and didn't feel like moving. So he said, "No, you go first." Now, Goat A wasn't about to back down, and neither was Goat B. And so these two goats ended up meeting in the middle of the bridge. They started butting heads, but neither one of them would back down. They were stuck in the middle of the bridge, and it was too narrow for the two of them to occupy at the same time. So they kept on butting heads. And as they struggled, they both lost their footing and fell into the river below. Now, when they first hit the water, they were quite scared. But then they started to realize that the water wasn't very deep, and so they started swimming towards each other. As they got closer, they looked into each other's eyes, and they realized that the only reason they were fighting was because neither one of them wanted to back down. They were both too stubborn to take a step back, and so they had been fighting over nothing. And as they continued to swim closer together, they realized that it wasn't all that bad being in the same river at the same time. In fact, it was kind of nice. They decided right then and there that next time they saw each other, they wouldn't start butting heads, but instead, they would become friends. After swimming to the middle of the river, they decided to head in opposite directions. Goat A wanted to get to his favorite patch of grass, and Goat B wanted to get to his favorite patch of grass. As they headed in opposite directions, they noticed that even though they had started off their day as enemies, by the end of the day, they had become friends. And so, this is the story of how two goats who hated each other became friends after they fell into a river. If we had listened to our parents when they told us to be kind to others, we wouldn't have had to learn the hard way like these two goats did. Be kind to others because you don't know what might happen. These two goats could have easily chosen to be mean to each other even after they got out of the river, but instead they chose to become friends. Now, this is a pretty short story, but there are plenty of other stories out there with much more detail, and if you want to hear those stories, all you have to do is search for them. But before you go searching for those stories, make sure to subscribe so you never miss one of our videos. We release new videos every single day, and you don't want to miss any of them. Also, we would really appreciate it if you would drop a like on this video since it helps us out a lot. Thank you for listening to this story, and I'll see you next time.